Indylive Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Clacks Women for Indie podcast. The music there was from Kevin MacLeod and it's called Hidden Past. And we're going to come back to that whole theme of hidden past later on in the podcast. But first, in a week where Donald Trump attempted to muzzle social media and prevent them from saying anything that he didn't like, it's worth remembering that the Yes movement, we're lucky because we actually have our own social media platform. It's called The Hub. There's an app that you can download, and Dave Murchison, who runs it, is currently also working on a website. So if you're not already signed up to The Hub, then I would suggest that you get signed up. Dave was a guest on the daytime show on Indylive through the week, and I think it's one of these resources that we've no idea how lucky we are. The depth of talent in the Yes movement never ceases to amaze me. People with extraordinary skills doing extraordinary things, often completely for free. So let's support these efforts and let's find out a bit more. Here's Dave Murchison to tell us a little bit more about the Hub.
Really, the easy way to explain it is like a social media platform purely for Scottish independence. That's all it's focusing. So everything on it is pro-indie, apart from a few accounts. There's no real negativity going on. But the idea for it started at the end of 2014, once we lost. And we had Alex Salmond talking about, we're going to Westminster, hold their feet to the fire, make sure we get what they promised. And so Wings Over Scotland, Newsnet, Bella Caledonia, and Scott Goes Pop were the main websites I followed. But I found every lunchtime at work, I'd be opening tabs, typing in the website, opening tabs to see if they had anything new. And they didn't, so I closed them again. I thought, well, I'll make an app that just pings me a little message to say there's something new on them. It just ballooned from there. So all the accounts went on. So there's 500 groups, mostly Yes groups are on it. So anytime they have something new, a wee notification pops up to say there's a new event or there's a new video, or like Indylive would have a new live stream, or a new podcast or whatever. And that's it. End of 2014 is when I started it, and it's almost 6 years, which is quite crazy. So there's about 150,000 different bits of content on it now.
That is incredible.
Yeah, I mean that's nothing to do with me. That's all the Yes groups continuing to talk, continuing to keep momentum going, even though we're in a lockdown. It's incredible. It's been a wee dip in the amount of content, but it's not gone down to nothing. This month, I think there's about 15,000 different things posted, which is amazing. For when you're told don't campaign and you've still got 15,000 things just on the Hub alone. Quite incredible. So in total, there's about 500 groups. But the groups will also be websites, like Wings and Bella and all that. Uh-huh. So there's probably about between 350 and 400 Yes groups that are on it. Not all of them are posting. Some are lying dormant just now. But the idea is, as well, is you can find your closest Yes group just by tapping nearby groups. Same with events, which with the lockdown I have to change that because you're not going to really have any nearby events anymore. I have gatherings of people popping along, so I need to change the way that's done. But yeah, about 350, 400 groups are on it now. The groups don't actually have to post anything directly on the Hub. They just put in, what's your Facebook page? Do you have a website? Give us the link to your newsfeed, and the Hub will get it for you. And it just harvests all the stuff, all the websites. So Indylive will get from Livestream, the website, wherever their podcasts are hosted, and Shoutcast, where the radio station is. The Hub grabs it all and fires the page. So groups, once you set up your group, you can actually leave it. It'd be great if you come back and post stuff and check what's happening. But you can leave it running, and it'll do it for you. So most of the content is generated from elsewhere. You can do your own live stream on the Hub now, which is great because of this lockdown. It's just a single person but you can tap a button to start a live stream, I think it is, on the iPhone or an Android, and you can broadcast out, just have a wee discussion, just telling people an update on what's happening. Group, for example, can just give a wee update, a video update. But again, you get a wee notification to say this group is now live. You can just watch them, and that's it.
That's excellent.
So hopefully that sort of thing, when the events side of thing is updated because of lockdown, we'll have more of that.
Can I ask you, Dave, so you do all of this by yourself? You don't have a wee team of helpers? You do it all on your own?
Just me. I'm quite a control freak.
Is it also you that does the Twitter account as well? The reason I'm asking is because Fiona, one of our listeners and a big contributor on Indylive Radio, she's from Clackmannanshire Women for Independence, and she's just put a comment to say, can we say thanks to Dave for patiently answering all our questions about the hub and for sharing the Clacks Wi-Fi podcast on it. So she wants to say thank you for that.
There's a good thing, right? So this is built by me, right? It's a social media platform that we can all use. And the Clacks podcast, for example, it was a thing where I don't think we had it, or it was under another account. So it's kind of lost. You didn't really know it was Clacks. So we're asked, can we just change it so we can have it? The Clacks one can go here, and I think another podcast can go here. I was like, yeah, because this is ours, and I've coded the whole thing. So anything, if any group has an idea of how we can change it, make it better, we can do it. That's the great thing about it. We're not stuck on a platform that's run by a business in America. We can do whatever we want, and if it helps get more people to yes, then we do it.
The hub is more really to help coordinate folk that had already convinced, isn't it?
Well, the hub's kind of sneaky. The website's very important. Google search results, for example. If you're Googling something, if you Google Nicola Sturgeon, for example, you will get your top results will probably be newspapers, BBC, right? So we're battling against that. So the hub website, for example, can be used to try and push us further up those Google search results. So the more people use the hub, the more people link to the hub, that pushes it further up the results. So the more popular this gets with yes folk, the more it's going to get us up those results, which means no folk, or mostly the undecided now, I'd hope, would Google something, Nicola Sturgeon or Scottish Government or something, and find that we're further up on that first page of search results, because that's where they're going to start reading stuff, because newspapers are really struggling just now. No one's going to shop for a newspaper, really.
I've got another question here from the chat room. Clacks Wifeys again, they're a big fan of yours, Dave. Fiona's asking, could unionists, or worse, join the hub for disinformation purposes? And do you have a kind of security where you can watch out for trolls?
Yeah, I've got a big delete button. Use. I get an email whenever someone signs up, so I can check how things are going, and I see that there's a tab under groups called new. You see all the new groups, and if they tried it, I just use that delete button on it.
So Dave Murchison from the hub there, and if you're not on the hub, can I suggest you join, and if you look up Clacks Wi-Fi, follow us, then you'll get notified every time we put out content. Also follow Indylive Radio, of course. Now, if you listen to last week's podcast, you'll know we were talking about the history lessons we got at school and the missed opportunities of actually making them interesting using history all around us. But also a little bit about how there's a whole section of Scottish history that none of us got, and as well as the actual facts, we're also talking about the subjugation of language, both Scots and Gaelic, one being suppressed completely and one being ridiculed as a made-up language. We've been pondering this a little bit on Indylive Radio, and whilst there is a whole chunk of our culture that, yes, it has been hidden from us, the idea that it's only something that exists in the past isn't true. So we decided to take a look at just how many bands and artists there are around at the moment who are singing in Gaelic. We started with Runrig and Capercaillie and the ones that everybody's heard of. We've been asking people to recommend others, and actually there's a load of them. We've got people like Julie Fowlis, Skippinish. We've got about 30 artists now who are singing either entirely or primarily in Gaelic. So we've decided to put on a Gaelic music show, It'll be initially on at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays on Indylive Radio from this week, and it's going to play music from all those Gaelic bands. So if anybody's got any that you know of that you'd like to let us know about, then drop us a line. That would be great through any of the usual communication channels. We're also thinking of how many of us are studying Gaelic with the new Duolingo Gaelic program, and I think they had something like, 200,000 people signed up within the first couple of weeks. Way more than there are actually Gaelic speakers. That piece of our culture and our history that we're feeling is missing. We're searching it out. So if anybody's doing Duolingo or Gaelic classes through any other medium, then you'll be able to listen to the lyrics and see if you can understand what they're talking about, but also sing along. And I think the idea of broadcasting Gaelic over the airwaves just because we want to is fabulous. We've also come across a book by Jenny Eeles, which is called The Treaty of Union Articles. And these are articles that have been collected from the British press from 1700 to 1900 about the Treaty of Union. So we're turning our thoughts now to, could we use this to build a history programme around either just reading out the articles to make them available, or perhaps a combination of reading and discussing. So that's something that if anybody's got any ideas on or they'd like to get involved with, then again, get in touch. You can get hold of Jenny Eeles' book on Amazon. There's a Kindle edition available at $4.99. You can also get in touch directly with Jenny if you don't want to use Amazon, and there are paperback copies available. So to give you a little flavour of what the collection of articles are like, I'm going to play you excerpts from one that's been read out by Tracy Shepherd, one of the Clacks Women for Indie. This is an article from 1883, and I think you will be astonished how much of their concerns are exactly the same as the concerns we've got today. So have a listen and see what you think.
Greenock Telegraph and Clyde Shipping Gazette, Monday, 2nd of April, 1883. Messrs. Waddy & Co. have done a real service to Scotchmen at the present time by publishing in pamphlet form the exact terms of the Treaty of Union between England and Scotland. There is the same disposition now in some quarters as there was at the period of the Union to override the wishes and interests of the people of the smaller kingdom. Scotchmen have been patient and long-suffering under much neglect, but there is now a spirit abroad among them which is likely to go on developing and increasing until the management of their affairs is put on a much more satisfactory footing than at present. The publishing of the Treaty of Union brings to our recollection the bitter feeling that pervaded the minds of the English people against the Scotch immediately previous to the treaty, as envisaged by their determined hostility to the African or Indian Company and the Darien scheme started by Scottish merchants and others, and to the warlike attitude England assumed when the Scots' indignation at the treatment they had received showed a disposition to again take up an independent position as a nation. England at that time fitted out 24 men of war to prevent the Scotch trade with France, almost the only trade they possessed, and declared the Scots in England aliens. The blood of the nation was up, and things were tending to an open rupture between the two countries, when fortunately a change of ministry took place in England, and the election of a parliament more favourable to the Scots. The union desired by the Scottish nation at this time was a federal one, and when it found out that their commissioners had departed from that understanding, the indignation of the country knew no bounds. An open revolt was shown in some places. But the thing was done, and after a time the bitter feeling of the Scots quieted down. That the terms of the treaty were not according to what the people were prepared to contend for was a palpable fact, but a mechanical majority in the Scottish Parliament, whose interest lay in having the treaty approved, carried its point against the wish of the nation. That the treaty had been of benefit to both countries cannot be doubted, but that all the prosperity of Scotland is due to it is far from being the case. It was the invention of the steam engine and steamboat, both the outcome of Scotch genius, that gave her that marvellous start and brought about her present prosperity. Scotland has simply thriven because the English have let her alone, and she has been a mind to attend to her own business and make the best of present circumstances. A minister for Scotland, while a good thing, is not sufficient for our needs. The evils are too deeply rooted to be removed by any minister, however evil. The House of Commons should be divided into 3 equal divisions, sitting simultaneously in London, Dublin and Edinburgh, and reuniting in the after part of the session in London to give the exclusive attention to imperial affairs. Whatever the proper remedy may be to put the legislative affairs of Scotland on a proper footing, there can be little doubt some radical reform is needed. Is it reasonable or fair that pressing legislation for Scotland should be year after year prevented because English Tory and Irish obstructives block the way in the imperial legislature? Many questions of importance for the Northern Kingdom are awaiting solution, and had the Scottish people only to deal with their own representatives, it would not be long before that solution was obtained. Some of the fears entertained by many of our forefathers as to the evil effects likely to flow from the Treaty of Union have been proven to be groundless. But the one arising from the swamping of Scotland's members in the Imperial Parliament has not been of that number. Let Scotland therefore demand with united voice that the present state of things must cease, and that in the future means must be provided by which we must have much greater control over those matters that affect ourselves as a nation. Greenock Telegraph and Clyde Shipping Gazette, Monday, 2nd of April, 1883.
Hope you enjoyed those excerpts from the article. And again, if you want to read the full article or you want to read the full book, it's called The Treaty of Union Articles, and it is by Jenny Eeles, E-L-E-S. And the other thing that we have, if you're interested in history, I think I've mentioned this podcast before, Stuart McHardy does a podcast called Radical Scottish History. It's not currently in the rotation of shows on Indylive Radio, but it is available on the Podbean podcast channel. We're also in the process of uploading it to the new Indylive Radio YouTube channel. So whichever of those you prefer, you'll be able to follow along with that. They're quite short episodes, but they're fascinating. Really well done. Now it's just about time for coffee, so let's head over to the virtual coffee shop and see what's the talk of the steamy this week. So tell us about Olio then.
So this way, it was actually Lynn's that put me onto it. She had been talking about it and saying about it. So I don't think it's not just food waste, it's a kind of waste app, and I think it's mainly for food waste, but you can put non-food items on it as well. So you can join the app, you can go on as just either as a person, an individual that wants to put like your own stuff on, be it food or non-food. So say you find you've got a jar of peanut butter in the cupboard and you're no longer wanting it, you can put that on. And what would happen, you list it, we picture listings, say what it is, describe it, best before date, whatever, and then other people nearby you that are also on the app will get a notification saying there are listings near you. So they can look at it and see if they want it. And if they do want it, they just message you and say, can I claim this? And then you kind of privately message one another so you can give addresses. Because that's what, when I was doing it this Sunday, Robbie said, you're going to be telling complete strangers our address and they're going to be coming here and picking stuff up. And I went, well, yeah. I said, they're not coming into the house. It's all sort of planned, the kind of social distance thing as well and how to do it. So, yeah. But there's different levels. You can go on just as an individual, or you can volunteer to kind of be an ambassador. So you advertise about it for them. You like put it through social media to make people aware of it. Or you can be what Lynn's does, is a food waste hero. You look on and they look at where you live and they say, here are places nearby that are offering up a slot for you to come and collect what's going to be turfed in the bin otherwise. So I had two options, and it was like Falkirk, Reading Road, or Bowness. And then the Falkirk one went. Again, I was trying to plan it around, and you have to kind of say you'll do it for like 6 months. It's not like you're just going to do it once. They want you to do it regularly. And the Falkirk one was 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and I thought, nah, I don't want to get up that early. And then there was one on a Wednesday night that I thought, yeah, I could do that, because my mum used to come over on a Wednesday, and I thought, well, when we get back to that would tie in with my mum coming over, because I was thinking what I could do is go pick my mum up, bring her here, and then when I take her home to go and do my food collection, and it means she can come here and have a couple of glasses of wine.
And you're not doing a special trip either,
with a meal.
Good.
But anyway, that slot went, and so I had to relook. I ended up picking Bowness on a Sunday. So this week I went along, and I had 7 of these like big green crates. There was lots of chilled stuff, fruit and veg, bread.
Do they not give any of this to food banks? Is it not suitable for that? Or?
So if there's charities that want it, they will take precedence over. So what they've said to you is, I've claimed this slot on a Sunday at Bowness, but if a local charity comes in and says, do you have any like food that you're prepared to give away that we can use for homeless or whatever, then that will go to them and I would lose my slot. The understanding at any like supermarket or place, if a charity comes in and looking for it, then the charity takes precedence over us, because it's technically a kind of a food waste prevention or a waste prevention.
Which got to be a good idea though, and much better if people can use it.
The supermarkets then, they kind of mark down, so they gave me 7 trays of stuff, and they wait to see what I list. You're supposed to list it all. Well, actually, as a volunteer, I'm allowed to keep 10%. You don't have to keep 10%, but that's what they say. You can have 1/10 of everything that you collect, and the rest has to go up for listing. That's my wee kind of reward for going. So last Sunday, after I finally got round to listing everything, I ended up having like sausages and one of these trays of veg. The stuff that's chilled stuff that's used by date, you can only list until like midnight of that night, and that's a kind of liability thing from Tesco's point of view. They don't want anybody being able to say, well, I got this from Tesco's and it was past its use by date, so I can only list it and people can come and claim it. If nobody claims it, and what you do is when you list it, you can list it for like a number of hours, so it would just drop off if nobody's claimed it. But then I'm free to do whatever I want with it. I can either keep it or distribute it to neighbours and friends, and it's on a kind of at your own risk type of basis. It's no longer anything to do with Tesco's. Because
it was absolutely brilliant. I tell you that, it was really brilliant, because Lindsay's been doing it for a while. Neighbours, because some of them haven't got internet at all. Lindsay puts up what she's got. If I can't put it all onto the app in time because of the time thing, I say to her, that person will want that, and that person will want that, and that. And then either she comes down here with mine and brings all that lot down, or I go up there and collect it all. And then I come back and knock on people's doors. It's like chap and run, There you are. Yeah. But they're all absolutely thrilled to bits with it. Absolutely. We've had, the other week, she had loads of celery. So, all right, some of it needed the ends cut off because it was the, prepared celery that had gone a bit funny in the end. But cut that off, you can use it for soups. We could eat a lot of it raw, and then the rest of it's been put in the freezer for when I get time to make soup with it,
Yeah.
But it's well worth doing,
We've got a wee street WhatsApp. So I had mentioned it on the Sunday night when I got back. I should probably have done it before, because there was only a couple of people on the Sunday night who said, oh, that's really good, and had a look at it and got something. But the next day, So the Monday, I put it on again because I thought more people will be looking at it in the morning, and kind of explained it to my neighbours. I was like a bag lady walking up the street. I ended up with about 7 bags going up, but people were like, oh, can I have like a cauliflower, an iceberg lettuce, some apples, and I'll take some bread if you've got bread as well. So I was just going to actually just put like dots 2 meters apart and people can queue. But it's just, I mean, when I saw the amount of stuff I got, and I thought, oh my God.
Yeah, I think, in all honesty, I think because it was a bank holiday weekend as well, I think they'd overestimated. And because people hadn't, it's different at the moment. Holidays aren't like they normally are, where people are going out with trolleys full. So I think what had happened, because we had it with Lindsay for the Easter weekend as well, it just went berserk. But it calmed down a bit, and then like some nights you don't get hardly anything at all, and another night you get tons of it. All the people that we know are all quite happy with that. They said, well, whatever comes, sort of we can make use of it. And like our next door neighbour, she's a single parent, and she got a son who's got hollow legs, so she's thrilled to bits with anything. But anything that she's got that she hasn't got room for, she takes over to her mum, and her mum and her aunt has it.
Yeah.
But when you think how much all that would be going into landfill?
Yeah. It's horrible to think of it all going to waste,
And multiply that up by every supermarket.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of it, and if you look on Olio, you see all the local Tesco's around are all putting up adverts wanting people to do this.
Is it just Tesco's?
Other people are gradually doing it, but it's Tesco's mainly. The fair dues, Tesco's have come on board and do it quite a lot, So, I mean, you look on there some nights and you can see that if they haven't got anybody, they'll be putting a notice up, volunteers wanted. And that's what it is. And obviously everybody's trying to keep down their miles because of fuel as well. But it's one of those things, they're all hoping that people will come on board and have when it's available. Yeah. Because it's a shame that it is all going to waste otherwise,
Bonus was like probably slightly further than the Reading one, but I thought either of them are quite close to my mum. So when I went to Bonus on Sunday, I came back and stopped to my mum's, and I made a little bag of stuff up to hand into my mum. So she was delighted with it, and then she said she split it with, because a loaf of bread when you're a single person, and my mum's quite wee, she doesn't eat like, she'll not go through a loaf of bread in a week, but she splits it into like 4 slices and then freezes it so she can take it out 4 slices at a time. But she shared it with her friend down the road, and I said, well, let me know, I'm happy to make up a little pack of stuff for Norma as well. And the other thing I did, I handed stuff into my next door neighbour. It's handy that we've got our wee WhatsApp and I could let people know. And the next street has set up a Facebook page, so I've messaged them and told them, and I just put it on my own Facebook as well, thinking I've got like 600 plus friends. They're not all here, but the ones that are here will be able to see it. And then my neighbour said, have you thought about contacting Women's Aid and saying to them? So that's what I did. I phoned Women's Aid yesterday and explained it to them, and they said, oh, we can't say what we would need every week. And I said, no, that's not how it works. I said, it's not a case of you request things and I get it. I said, it's a case of whatever comes is available and you can claim it. But if it hadn't been like for Lynn's last week coming around and helping me, I would have struggled with the volume of stuff I had. She's round in it. We're both out in my back garden with masks on, and oh my God, what am I going to do with this all? If I had to list it all individually, and you don't have to list it individually, but there must have been like over 300 items there. Wow. I mean, right down to, there was individual yogurts, there was the little, the wee fruit bags, like a kiddie's snack fruit bag. That I took everything, and I think...
I know when Lindsay came from you, and then she came round to the front of our house, and we roared of laughter. She pulled up and she came to the door and said, do you want to come to the back of the car? I went, do I? She said, I think you do. So I walked out there and I just stood there and my jaw just dropped, you know. And with that, I knocked on Natalie's door next door and said to her, would you like to come outside to Lindsay's car? And she came out and her jaw dropped, you know. But no, I mean, we shared it around with a lot of people and, you know, it went to good places, you know.
I think we'll leave the ladies to their coffee there. So that was Olio, the app they were talking about, Olio, and it's also got a website if you want to have a look on that. And essentially it's a food sharing app to eradicate food waste. A couple of things to remember this week then. Our new Gaelic music show, 2 p.m. on Tuesday on Indylive Radio. And there's also, if you're like me, a child of the 60s or 70s, then we've got a 60s and 70s music special at 2 p.m. on Thursday. This podcast will be repeated at Thursday at 6 p.m. and we've got our poetry show on Sunday on 1 p.m. So that's about it for this week. Hope you're all enjoying the sunshine and our little bit of extra freedom that we've got. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you all next time. Bye now.
Indylive